Today we'll start the new chapter, that is Bahmani Kingdom. Bahmani Kingdom, after the breakup of the Sultans of Delhi, provided an opportunity for the rise of number of kingdoms in the south. And in the Deccan, that is after the decline of the Tughlaqs, there arose two important kingdoms, that is the Bahmani and the Vijayanagara. Okay, and these two states were the most popular in India because they not only built a magnificent capitals and cities but also provided a law and order and also led to the establishment, that means development in the trade and handicraft. Okay, understood? After the decline of the Sultans of Delhi, there arose two important kingdom in the Deccan, that is in the south, that is the Bahmani and the Vijayanagara. Okay, and these two kingdoms have contributed a lot to the field of law and that is to your art and handicraft. Okay, now let us see about who established this kingdom. Okay, Bahmani kingdom was established by Alauddin Hasan Gangu Bahman Shah in the year 1347 CE. Okay, and Gulbarga and Bidar was their capital. Okay, actually Alauddin Hasan Gangu had received the title called a Sultan during the rule of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And this Bahmani kingdom lasted for 200 years, that is from 1347 to 1686 CE. Okay, among the rulers of the Bahmani kingdom, the noted one are Muhammad Shah I, Muhammad Shah II, Firoz Shah, Ibrahim Adil Shah I, and Ibrahim Adil Shah II. Okay, these are some of the important rulers of the Bahmani kingdom. Okay, and this Bahmani kingdom stretched from Arabian Sea to the Bay of Bengal, and which included the whole of northern Deccan, that is up to river Krishna, with its capital first as Gulbarga and later they shifted to Bidar. Okay, so the kingdom lasted for 200 centuries, it means 200 years. And these rulers, these Bahman rulers, had a constant war with the neighboring states of Warangal and Vijayanagara Empire. Okay, and these rulers, that is the history of Bahmani kingdom, can be seen in the two stages. That is in the first stage, that is between 1347 to 1422, and later on, that is 1422 to 1686. Okay, so beginning it was Gulbarga was their capital, and later on they shifted to Bidar. Okay, and in the beginning, that is in the first stage, around 8 rulers ruled this kingdom, and later on during the time of Shiauddin Ahmad, he shifted the capital from Gulbarga to Bidar, and it remained the capital till the end of the Bahmani kingdom. So in this lesson, you are going to study in detail about Muhammad Gawan, that is his contribution towards the Bahmani kingdom. Muhammad Gawan was a prime minister under the Bahman Sultans. As a prime minister, he took the Bahmani kingdom to a great extent. Okay, he served with a great distinction as a prime minister for 3 Bahman Sultans, that is Humayun, Nizam Shah and Muhammad Shah III. Okay, he served under 3 Bahman Sultans, that is Humayun, Nizam Shah and Muhammad Shah III, and he served as a prime minister for about 23 years, that is from 1468 to 1481. Okay, and he rendered the service, that is under the rulers, selflessly and with a dedication. Okay, he is a highly competent minister and a general, and under the leadership the kingdom had further expanded. And actually he was born in Persia, it means he belonged to Persia, and he was well versed in the Persian language, and he came to India with the intention of carrying over the trade. Okay, and he also had mastered, that means he had well versed in the Islamic theology. Muhammad Gawan was also well versed in Maths, Persian and Islamic theology, and he is also a poet and a prose writer. Actually, he visited the court of Alauddin Adil Shah II, and the Sultan offered him the post, that is as an officer in the administration. And later, by observing his sincerity and honesty, he was posted. It means he was given the post of prime minister. So, as a prime minister, he played a very important role. That is, he took the Bahmani kingdom to a great height. Now, let us see about his military expedition. Firstly, he was he led the successful expedition against the combined forces of this Khandesh and Orissa. Okay, he was able to defeat those rulers and able to conquer this Khandesh and Orissa. And secondly, he occupied the fertile Doab region, that is of Daulatabad and Berar, and fertile areas of Bidar also. Okay, and thirdly, with the help of the Sultan of Gujarat, okay, he was able to defeat the ruler of Malwa, and later on, with the treaty with the Malwa rulers, they were able to bring the political stability. And Muhammad Gawan also establishes the control over the coastal areas. That is, he controlled over the Goa, and also as far as that means up to Goa he reached there, and he conquered that Goa, which was under the control of the Vijayanagara Empire. And this capture, that means the possession of this Goa had helped these Bahmans in the two ways. That is, firstly, with the occupation of this Goa, it led them to trade with the other countries, and secondly, it helped the Bahmans to attack the Vijayanagara Empire, and thus enabled them to defeat Vijayanagara rulers. Okay, so Muhammad Gawan was a very diplomatic person, and he secured the help of the sultans of Jaunpur, Bengal and Gujarat by subduing, that means by conquering the powerful rulers of Malwa. Okay, ultimately, as I told, the peace was restored between Malwa and Bahmani kingdom. Now, coming to his administrative reforms, actually the kingdom was divided into provinces, and these provinces are called as tarafs. Okay, and there were four provinces existed, and Muhammad Gawan divided the four into two each and created the tarafs. And these tarafs are headed by the governors. But Muhammad Gawan had reduced the power of the governors of these tarafs. Okay, and in each of the 8 tarafs, some areas were kept reserved for the control of the central government, and their administrative control were under the control of the officials who have been appointed by the center. I think you all understood. In each of the taraf, there were a governor, that is tarafdars. They were running the administration, but it was controlled by the central government. And for their administrative control, officers were appointed by the central government itself. Okay. Further, orders were also issued for placing one fort in each province, that means in each taraf, under the charges of the governor, and other under the control of the military commander, okay, appointed by the sultan. Okay, and next, he paid a check. That means he had imposed strict regulation on the powers of these tarafs. Okay, and he also introduced a fair system of justice. Okay, and coming to his reforms in the administration, that is in the development of agriculture. And let us know about the measures that he has taken for the development of agriculture. Actually, he had classified the land on the basis of the fertility of the soil, and further on the irrigation facilities. And then he had the entire agricultural land was surveyed and land revenue was fixed. And he also appointed officials, and he exercised strict control over those officials to see that they take the interest in that is to take the interest on this developmental of agriculture, and do not charge more than what the government has fixed. Okay, so this is about his reforms in the development of agriculture. Further, he also had taken several progressive measures in the development of education. And you all know that he is noted for his Madarasa that has been established in Bida, okay, and it is called as a Madarasa of Gawan, okay, and he took several measures to spread this education in during his time. He opened a Madarasa, an institution at a higher level at a Bidar, okay, and this building was a 3-storied building and was made beautiful with lovely red tiles, okay. Several scholars of these institutions were invited from the Iran and Iraq, and further the students who are enrolling in this institutions were provided a free boarding and lodging facilities. And he had also built a library consists of about 3,000 books, okay. And he also was a great writer too, had written the book also. And even in the military system also he brought several reforms. That is, he improved the condition of the soldiers in his army, and also he brought a better discipline among the members in the army also, this in the soldiers in the army also. But Muhammad Gawan was responsible for the all-round development of the Bahmani kingdom. But his progress was not tolerated by his native Muslim nobles. It is said that achievement of Muhammad Gawan invited the jealousy of the Indian Muslim nobles, and through a conspiracy against him, they succeeded in getting a death sentence, that means death order for him from the Sultan when he was drunk. So when the Sultan came to know about this truth, he was deeply regretted. That means he grieved and died within a year of the murder of this faithful minister, that is Muhammad Gawan. And with the death of Muhammad Gawan, the kingdom became weak and it disintegrated into 5 parts. That is Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Berar, Golconda and Bidar. So further, the Bahmani kingdom was divided into 5 units, division, and was ruled by the different Shahi rulers. That is, Bijapur was ruled by Adil Shahi, and Ahmednagar was ruled by Nizam Shahis, and Berar was ruled by Imad Shahi, and Golconda was ruled by Qutub Shahis, and Bidar was ruled by Barid Shahis. Not much about all these rulers have been given in your textbook, but only about Ibrahim Adil Shah they have mentioned, so I am going to explain about him, okay. So Ibrahim Adil Shah, okay, the most important king of the Adil Shah of Bijapur, okay, and it is said that he ascended the throne when he was 9 years, and he ruled for over 47 years. Under his tenure, that means during his period, the dynasty had its greatest period, that means it reached to the greatest extent. And he extended his frontier, that is as far as Mysore. He extended his empire up to Mysore. And it is also said that he was a very skillful administrator, artist, poet, and also generous, okay, to the patron of the art. And he is also known in the Indian history as a Jagat Guru Badshah, okay. And he even loved music and also played a musical instrument also. And it is said that Ibrahim too publicly had declared that all he wanted is a vidya, that is a learning, okay. So because of that, you know that he had also served his Guru Seve, that means he served the Guru, and that is, he was a devotee of Hazrat Bande Nawaz, that is a saint of Gulbarga. And he also composed a prayer to him to bestow vidya, or a learning and a charitable disposition, okay. Now Ibrahim too also wrote the book that is called as Kitab-i-Nawaris, that is a book of 9 rasas, and this book contains 59 songs and 17 couplets, okay. And these books were written in Dhakni, that means the language that is origin in the Deccan, okay. And this book indicates the ragas in which they are supposed to sing, okay. And it is also said that this book, the first verse, the first line of this Kitab-i-Nawaris, invocation is an invocation. So the first verb of the Kitab-i-Nawaris is an invocation to goddess Saraswati. and the second verse invokes Prophet Muhammad and the Sufi saints. So this book gives an evidence to show that he is a religious tolerance. Sultans, they developed the Indo-Sasanic style of architecture, that is a mixture of the Indo and the Persian style, and their buildings were mostly in the Indian and the Persian style. And the Jamia Masjid built by Adil Shah is a prominent monument even today. Ibrahim Roza, the Gol Gumbaz, Gagan Mahal are the important monuments of this period, and these monuments have made this Adil Shah his world famous. Now let us know about the Gol Gumbaz. Gol Gumbaz at Vijayapura, it is one of the greatest structure in the world. This was built, that is Muhammad Adil Shah constructed this monument, and this construction work is said to have been begun around 1626 and was completed in the year 1656. And this structure is 51 meter tall and has a wide dome. And this dome has 4 pillars in which steps have been built to go up. And the unique feature of this dome is that if one whispers standing on one side of the dome, it can be heard clearly on the other side. So this is one of the biggest dome in India.